day, just keeping your head down and fighting to survive. We float by each other like ghosts every day. We cling to the struggle, the fight with one another. Complacent with the fact that our systems are broken, with the fact that the top 10 will always be first in line, the fact that we are killing our planet and allowing them to keep us divided. We must stand together and rise up. It's time we wake up, and that is a difficult truth.
Welcome to the Tuesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Tuesday morning. Hope everyone got their preferred beverage of choice. In my opinion, I think it's coffee, but you know. Hope everyone had a good, restful Labor Day weekend. Jack Apollyon, hello, howdy. Hey Thundera, how's it going? Hey Darknet, how's it going? We've got a couple of articles on the docket. And then, we move forward on page 75 of the IPCC report. Sorry, page 77. We're doing really good. I have no desire to go to work this morning. Unfortunately, though, capitalism says I still have to go. Yeah, I mean, the obvious, you know, the only other choice is, well, not put food on the table or roof over your head, you know. We have we have quite the amount of choices there. Hey, spread it forward, how's it going? Alrighty, folks. Yeah, so page 77 of the technical support of the IPCC report. Chillin', nice. And we're just going to run through some of these headlines. Oh, come on, really? Hold on. True. Desperation is a fantastic motivator. I mean, what's the other alternative? Starve? Not have a roof over your head? Alright, I think we're good. I think I got everything up. Alright, this one is a, just a quick one. Howdy, howdy. Hope you're all well. I'm also in the same position. Yeah, I think we all are. Kal-El. I was considering making an earth-style house out of sod and other free and natural materials, but zoning laws looked, and the looks were enough to make me reconsider, unfortunately. Well, I mean, couldn't there be a situation where maybe you could make that like an extra law cabin or something? I've seen some of those earth style houses, and they're pretty decent. I've also seen houses made out of like completely recyclable material or recycled materials. I just live so deep in the city, it's just not happening. Oof. Yeah, well, that's a problem. Yikes. Houston is like 100-mile radius of concrete with a few smart parks sprinkled in. Yikes. Alright, folks. Let's get through some of these headlines. This one is interesting. It's probably a good metric as to why it's probably a good metric as to why the reasons why I say that Joe Biden winning isn't like necessarily a win. It was more of a Donald Trump losing kind of deal, you know? Because that will only work once. It only worked once. And Donald Trump beats Joe Biden in 2024 election poll. I mean, assuming that he runs again, which I'm not convinced that he's going to run again. But should he run again, it would be I think it would be disastrous. Heat coming in hot with a rate subscription for 14 months. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. And the awesome part about that is September, I think, is I think subscriptions are 20% off or something like that. However, creator gets to keep their part. Thank you, I appreciate that. September, sorry, yes, September, not September. I mean, yes, September, not September. A new poll has placed former President Trump as the favorite to win 2024 election, slightly edging Democratic incumbent Joe Biden. A National Emerson College poll found that if two men were to go head-to-head in 2024, Trump would be slightly favored with 47 against Biden's 46. I know that this is well within margin of error, but I think he would win. I think in 2024, should there be some weird scenario where Joe Biden is running for re-election and Donald Trump wins the nomination or is nominated, I think Donald Trump would win. Biden has a split job approval among registered voters. The poll found it said that 47% disapprove and 46% approve of the work he's doing as president. The other 7% were undecided, which is huge. That right there is how you win elections, depending on how they swing, right? Many people only vote for Trump, meaning yelling nasty. Biden is not, short of Republicans insulting Biden. Yeah, I mean, like, the reality is, as I said earlier, I think that this was a situation where it wasn't a matter of necessarily the country overwhelmingly being enthusiastic about Biden. I'm sure there is like a contingency that is very enthusiastic about Biden. I think, maybe I could be reading this wrong, but I think it's more of a people were just tired of the gross incompetence of Trump, and that's what opened up the the doorway for someone like Biden to win. To be honest, I think if it was a regular election cycle, I don't think he would have won. Yeah, we were more enthusiastic to get Trump out. Right. Exactly. Hey, Big Dangly Thanks. Good morning. Morning. So I think it was a situation where it was more of a Trump lost rather than Biden winning. It was more of a Trump losing scenario. And I don't think that's going to work a second time. I do not think that's going to work the second time. Particularly if the reasons why people got out to vote aren't if the campaign promises and the platform that was proposed that got people out to vote in the first place there's no delivery on that one, then definitely the energy will be completely lost. The energy will be completely lost, and unfortunately, to win elections nowadays, I think it's more of a who can turn out their base, who can motivate their base, will win. Alio with the 10 biddies, thank you so much. Hey Choke, how's it going? I'm lurking, I often do, and I like your stream. Thank you so much. That makes me happy. I appreciate that, Choke. Thank you. So yeah, whatever you can do to motivate your base, effectively is what wins elections, right? Of the Democrats polled, 60% said they would see Biden as a 2024 presidential nominee. That's disastrous. That would be a mistake. While 39% say they would rather be someone else. Holy yikes. Of the Republican voters polled, 67% said they would vote for Trump in a hypothetical GOP primary with 7 other candidates, including Governor Ron DeSantis. Well, maybe Trump won't be as mad at him anymore. The only candidate to reach double-digit support at 10% when the former president is in the race. Former Vice President Mike Pence, Ted Cruz, Nikki Haley. When placed head-to-head in a hypothetical 2024 presidential race, Biden is the favorite is favorite to win against all Republican challengers, including DeSantis. I think he might beat DeSantis. I don't know if he'll beat Trump. I really don't. I think that he could beat DeSantis. I don't think he'll beat Trump. With regards to the 2022 midterms, the poll found that 71% of Democrats and 69 of Republicans, well, I imagine 69% of Republicans said they were very likely to vote in the contest. Yikes. That is very close. That is very close, and that tells me that it's going to be determined by who can get that edge out in voter turnout. So that being said, check your information, check your registration ahead of time. Make sure Make sure that everything is good to go, and be ready. But then again, MAGA and GOP Senate vote against any Dem ideas. Yeah, that's also a problem. I agree. I don't think he'd run to win, but he might for the money and the rallies, in my opinion. He might, but I don't know. I don't know. He originally said that he originally ran probably on that same idea and won, thinking that he wasn't going to win, but then he did win. It was all supposed to be a big publicity stunt, but he ended up being 4 years in office, so I don't know. It's possible. When Emerson last conducted a poll in February, Biden's approval rating was 49, while disapproval was at 39% with 12% on the fence. Biden's approval rating has shot down since the US completed its final stages of withdrawal from Afghanistan, which was marred by chaotic scenes at the Kabul airport. The poll revealed that the majority, 68% of Americans, believes the US lost the war in Afghanistan. well, I mean, because we did. Jesus Christ. While 32% believe the U.S. won. Wait, based on what metrics? How do 32% of the population believe that we won? That we won the war in Afghanistan. We didn't win anything. We lost on by all metrics and by all standards. We lost. I suppose. That one's for you, Taco Belmont. I mean, by what metrics did by what metrics did these 32% of people believe that we won? Asked which president bears the most responsibility of the war in Afghanistan, 49% believe it was former President George Bush who originally sent the troops there in 2001. True. Biden came in second with 24%. Also true, only in the sense that, remember, if I'm correct, I'm pretty sure that Biden back then was I'm pretty sure Biden back then was a strong voice, a supporter in the invasion of Afghanistan. So yeah, I think he bears a little bit a responsibility. Followed by Barack Obama with 18% and Trump 10%. Since he lost the presidential election in November of 2020, Trump, a one-term president, has dropped a number of hints that he may try to run again in 2024. On September 2nd, the Trump campaign released a political ad citing Biden's failure with Afghanistan, calling for the release of American hostages in the Central Asian country, and the return of the military equipment, much of it seized by the Taliban and Afghan National Army. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. I don't think you're gonna get all of that back from the Taliban. And second of all, a good portion of it won't be operational within the next year or so. So I don't know what the point of that would be. Like, dude, let's just take our L. Let's just move on and leave it alone. Okay? We do not need to get ourselves involved in another endless war. Let's just take our L and move on. Right now, and I'm not necessarily like um knowledgeable, I should say. But it seems like there is and I saw this article posted on the Discord. I'm just not knowledgeable enough to go over it properly. But apparently there's still a enclave of resistance to the Taliban that is currently in like one little section that is experiencing heavy fighting right now, and it's ooh. Most wars don't last 20 years, and the area is very tough. Most allies don't want the area. Yeah, I mean, like, it's about that time, Alio, you know? I think we should just take our L and move on. It's okay to say that we lost. It's okay to say that it was a disaster. It's okay to say that it was wrong. There have also been hints from Trump will run from other GOP allies. An undercurrent generalist, Lauren Windsor, reported in a tweet Thursday that GOP Representative Jim Jordan, Mental Gymnastics Jordan, has said that Trump would be announcing his campaign to run any day now. What? Oh man. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I think, honestly, he's going to run. For real. I think he's going to run for real. But a spokesperson for the Ohio lawmaker denied he made those comments about Trump running again in 2024. Ooh. I don't know. Anyways, the TLDR of this article is to remind ourselves what we could be facing in 2024, and stressing the urgency of the Democratic Party to do something, anything, literally anything, to relieve the issues in this country, to focus on real, palpable change, and to deliver on some of these campaign promises. I would like to see a aggressive action when it comes to climate change. I would like to see this massive infrastructure bill, the budget reconciliation version, be very aggressive and try to seriously improve people's lives here and address some of the root problems that we have. Because if not, here's the future. Here's the future. No way. I know, Alio. Surprised Pikachu face. Well, surprised ADT face. Here's the future right here. Failure to get your collective shit together is going to result like this. Judge says Ohio hospital cannot be forced to use ivermectin to treat COVID, reversing earlier decision. Public policy should not and does not support allowing physicians to try any type of treatment on human beings. Right. A judge ruled on Monday that an Ohio hospital cannot be forced to give a patient ivermectin for COVID-19, reversing an earlier decision that ordered it to administer a parasite medication that has not been approved to treat the disease. Like, I understand if you have a right to try kind of deal, where if you want to put yourself through this, that's on you, but I think that there should be some type of guardrails in place in terms of, like, you can try experimental medication if you wish on yourself, as long as it was designed for said disease. I mean, if you want to go ahead and take ivermectin, that's on you. But I I don't think you should force doctors to administer it. I don't think you should force them to administer it to you. Trump run if he can stack votes in his favor. Yeah, I don't know. Trump needs money and can't announce yet losses to fundraising possibilities. Maybe. I kind of think that you should be able to choose your own medicine if you're willing to pay. Maybe. I just think that you shouldn't force the hospital to do it. Nobody's forcing a doctor. They're getting paid. It's their job. No, I mean, like, the court made them, because the original problem was that the hospital was refusing to give this medication because obviously this medication is not approved for said treatment of this said disease. So they were not, I assume because of some type of liability that they didn't want to deal with. Because I mean, like, if it happened to be that they just went ahead and said, okay, let's do it, and something really bad happens, then they get sued. Prescription medicine is gatekept by selected licensed people. Yes, but I think that there's also reasons why you just can't go up to a pharmacy and get whatever you want, right? Safe injection sites so you can take whatever you want but be observed. I mean, if you want to set up a separate system like that, I would be perfectly fine. Because, listen, you do you. In this specific, like, scenario, I just think that the reasons why most likely this happened was because the hospital didn't want to deal. Didn't want to deal with a potential legal fallout if you know, the guy should have died or something. Right, the court should make them if a patient wants to pay for the medicine of their choice, which I don't think insurance should cover. Imagine a reframing. Should a doctor be forced to give you medical cannabis if you ask for it? Yes, I think they should. Here's why. Because you're taking a stance based on this silly situation, but these rulings get applied beyond them. Oh yeah. I think the difference here is that cannabis is proven to treat X, Y, and Z, right? Like, if you're taking cannabis to treat, like, seizures and stuff like that, that's what it's for. We have studies for that. Does that make sense? Or am I getting something wrong here? Or, like, if you are taking cannabis for pain, we know that cannabis and is used for, like, pain relief, for treatment of seizures, stuff like that. It's not like they're prescribing cannabis to, like, fight COVID or something. I see your point, but then you're held hostage to big science. I know this sounds silly, but science was used for the lack of it existing against cannabis for a very long time. True. I agree that it's good in general, that it's gatekept, but in some instances it is established interests protecting their power, like doctors preventing physician assistants from prescribing more medication. Yeah, that does happen. That does happen. I'm not sure I can get my head around the course forcing doctors to use specific drugs if they don't find the research compelling enough to prescribe it. I'm trying to understand. Yeah, so I think that maybe I'm in the wrong here. Pharmacist and nurse doctor should observe any medical drug interactions in the future. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Maybe I'm in the wrong here. Maybe I'm in the wrong here because, maybe there should be a specific, instance where if you want to really take this medicine, you can do it under X, Y, and Z circumstance and relieve the hospital and doctors of any liabilities. However, they will take care of you if something happens. Maybe we could do something like that. Right, the Hippocratic Oath. Right, because like, that's the reason. That's another reason probably why they didn't want to. They don't want to administer ivermectin because it's like, well, shit. What if the guy dies? What if we actually go the opposite direction? If you force them to give a silly medicine and you take a bad turn, you can't sue them. Yeah, like, exactly. Like, if you want to, because, like, I don't know. I don't want to, like, I know it sounds silly, but, like, I don't want to take away people's ability to do, like, whatever they want with their body. But I also, like, I don't know, man. You can't just throw it all on the hospital either, right? You can't just make the hospital, like, give you, like, I don't know. Unless you have, like, a very specific, very laid out scenario where, like, look, you have no liabilities. Whatever happens to you, that's on you. We'll try to take care of you, but understand that these are the side effects and these are the possibilities of outcomes, and if you want to take it, then, you know, as we release you as we release any liabilities. But, like, at the same time, Memo, like, you know that if doctors continuously give you specific advice, specific health advice, for a specific reason, and you continue to ignore that reason, they can release you as their patient, right? They can be like, look, I've been telling you that you need to do X, Y, and Z, and you're refusing to, like, do that, and your condition is worsening, and I'm trying to help you, but if you, yeah, like, they have that ability to release you as their patient. So, like, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the real answer is exactly how the real answer is
I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccine.
treating COVID with parasite pesticides is like mopping a floor with a stick. True. Capitalist Hospital, since I can pay for it, you have to give it to me. I don't like that. If you have the money, okay, cool, go find a doctor that will give it to you, but get out of my office. Yeah, it's a weird, situation to find yourself in, right? That's very unique here. That's very unique here. I would say that it's pretty dystopic. To agree with Trump? Hey, listen, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So it's a matter of time before he said something right. Someone please save me from North Korean Twitch. What the hell did I walk into? Huh? Wait. I'm sorry. Hold on. Did I miss something? I stumbled into a North Korean Twitch stream and they won't stop DMing me? Yikes. I'm pretty sure that if you request them to stop DMing you and they continue to DM you, and you ask them to already stop, that is considered harassment, and I would probably report that account if they continue to like seriously DM you and you ask them already to stop. That's right, and block them. Asked about how you can make an opinion on a government chaperone tour and it's wild. Yeah, I mean, like, again, regardless, like, just separate everything aside. If anybody continuously DMs you or continuously messages you on any platform, whether it be Twitch, whether it be Twitter, whether it be I don't know, YouTube. Well, does YouTube have DMs? I don't know. And you ask that person to please stop. At that point, I would just block, or if it's something that they continuously do, at that point I would just report that user account. You know, again, just setting aside everything, I would say that yeah, I mean, like, if you ask them to stop, I mean, come on, guys. Yeah, and if you're uncomfortable with reporting that account, then just block them and make sure that they can't do it. You know, unless other people are experiencing that, in which case that would warrant probably a report. If you're uncomfortable. Like, regardless of what like is going on, just anybody, please. And from our from my chat too, please don't like DM people that don't want to be DM'd. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. If people don't want to be DM'd, just don't do it. Simple as that, no matter what. No matter what the topic or situation or stream or YouTube video or whatever it is that you guys are talking about on Twitter, Twitch, just don't do it. Yeah, like, you even need to tell this group here, Drew, listen, you guys are awesome, okay? You guys are awesome. I hope we here are not those people. I mean, not that they're like regulars, but I've seen, I have this like, a dedicated troll. I think he's like a dedicated lefty troll who goes around streams. I think that they always have they have like over 9 million alternate accounts called Juchi Gang, and they just say like the most horrible stuff in DMs to people, and like, yeah, just no. Yeah, Quinn, better just. Oh, yeah, joke. Yeah. So, TLDR. And going ape if you ask a question. Well, there's nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with asking a question. Anyways, sorry you had that experience. A judge ruled on Monday that an Ohio hospital cannot be forced to give a patient ivermectin for COVID-19, reversing an earlier decision that ordered it to administer a parasite medication that has not been approved to treat the disease. In an 11-page decision, Hamilton County Common Pleas Judge Michael Oster Jr. wrote that there's no doubt that the medical and scientific communities do not support the use of ivermectin as a treatment for COVID-19. Well, the overwhelming medical community seems to be on the opposite. There have been inconclusive results when it comes to ivermectin, and even the studies that have shown some anecdotal success have been mixed with a whole bunch of other stuff. So, like, how do you determine if that is how do you determine that if it was ivermectin the one that did it, if you're mixing ivermectin with like all these other stuff? So as you can see, it's like, I don't know. You're blocking me, which is tight because my stuff is clearing up. Nice. Well, I'm glad. I hear ivermectin meth cocktails does wonders. Listen, we got enough Florida men, okay? That's enough Florida man. That's a Florida man stuff. That is literally a Florida man headline waiting to happen memo. I'm not even kidding you. That is a Florida man headline waiting to happen. We call it in the Midwest COVID relief. We call it Midwest COVID relief. No. I'm sorry I spoke it into existence. I'm telling you, that's a Florida man headline waiting to happen. Alright, so, let's continue. Based on current evidence, Oster wrote the drug, which is primarily used for deworm horses. Well, I mean, there are human uses in limited spaces for ivermectin to, I think it's anti-parasitic among other things. So it's not just for livestock. However, unfortunately, people have brought it. It has dawned on certain people to stock up on the livestock version of ivermectin, and like it stands to reason that you are not livestock, so the concentration, the dosage concentration is much higher. The quality control is different, and please don't do this. All right. It has been promoted by some doctors, some Republicans, and even popular podcast host Joe Rogan to combat the coronavirus. It's not an effective treatment for COVID. Oster cited advisories from the FDA, the CDC, and medical associations that have warned against the use of the medication for COVID-19. Oster also cited problems with the research into using ivermectin to treat the disease, including the withdrawal of a non-peer-reviewed study from a website that posts academic preprints. Oh lord. So all of this is based on a non-peer-reviewed study that had to would be withdrawn from a website that posts academic preprints. Not even the entire completely peer-reviewed study, just the preprints. Jesus. Julie Smith, the wife of the patient, Jeffrey Smith, had sued the hospital to force doctors to administer the medication. While the court is sympathetic to the plaintiff and understands the idea of wanting to do everything to help her loved one, public policy should not and does not support allowing physicians to try any type of treatment on human beings. Jeffrey Smith, 51, tested positive for the virus on July 9th and was admitted to Westchester Hospital nearly a week later. According to court documents, he was intubated August 1, and by August 19th, his chances of survival dipped below 30%. Yikes. Julie Smith demanded that the hospital administer ivermectin, but doctors refused. The medication has been prescribed by Dr. Fred Waxel, a pulmonologist unaffiliated with Westchester, who advocates for the use of ivermectin, and once told the Ohio Capitol Journal that not using it was like genocide. Okie dokie. A different judge issued a temporary injunction August 23rd, ordering doctors to begin administering the medication for 2 weeks. Oster, who held 2 days of hearing last week, said Waxel could not confirm in court whether the medication's continued use would benefit Smith. Waxel said the condition seems to have improved. In a statement, an attorney for Jeffrey Smith, Jonathan Davis, said he was disappointed by Oster's ruling. While likely he's received his last dose at U.S. Westchester Hospital, we can only hope that his condition continues to trend positively. Davidson said that, adding that his client's condition had stabilized and is improving. UC Health, which operates Westchester Hospital, did not immediately respond to comment and respond to a request for comment. A spokesperson told that the Cincinnati Enquirer that the decision was positive. We implore all members of the community to do what we know that works. Become fully vaccinated, use social distancing whenever possible, wear a mask, become fully vaccinated, use social distancing whenever possible. At UC Health, we respect the expertise of our clinicians and appreciate the scientific rigor used to develop treatments, medications, and other therapies. We do not believe that hospitals or clinicians should be ordered to administer medications and therapies, especially unproven ones, against medical advice. Right, like... Ooh. Covering myself in petroleum because the same compound exists in gel caps and t-shirts and oil. Huh. Turns out high school chemistry was really useful. True. My favorite part of this was the paper was probably put out by the drug company itself to get those cute people onto it. Drive production sales and pull down the document after you start seeing the surge. I mean, maybe. Maybe. Pumping up pharma to own the libs. I wish I could find the clip of the West Virginia mom going nuts about science and saying it's evil to ask any questions. It's from like the 70s, proudly declaring school is evil as a concept. Holy yikes, Batman. Holy yikes, Batman. So I guess like the real question... Sorry for spouting conspiracy nonsense. You're all wonderful. I gotta run to class. Have a wonderful day. You have a wonderful day. Good luck, Memo. I guess the real question, I think, like, at the end of the day, like, man, where do we draw that line, right? Where do we draw that line? Do we just, like, let everybody, like, do we just let people take whatever? Seems kind of weird. It seems kind of weird because, like, where does that end? Like, do we just all, do we all just, like, start trying, like, experimental stuff? Like, stuff that has nothing to do with the disease? I don't know. I feel like... I feel like there's gotta be a line somewhere. Part of a documentary on how capitalists turn Christianity upside down to fight anything that threatens extracted profits. It could even be part of Adam Curtis's hypernormalization, but not sure. Where does this end? And like, should a hospital be forced? And what I mean by forced, like by the courts, to administer medicine that is unproven, inconclusive, and for a use that is not authorized for. I mean, like, I'm just trying to think, like, what would do the most amount of good for the most amount of people? I gotta run too. See you later if you're still streaming. Thank you so much. I appreciate that joke. I appreciate that. Thank you. No, thank you. Where do we draw that line? I mean, do we just, like... You just let people take anything? I mean, like... It's really interesting how revolution things such as Quintana turned into this tool of the state. The history behind that is really interesting. Yeah, well, I mean, it's a perfect way of... It's a perfect tool to control the masses, I think. It's a perfect tool. I see Choke and Kyle everywhere I go. I know I'm safe around them. Yeah, they're good peeps. Definitely. Right-wing media and radio talks, and talk radio says take the vaccine. Yep.
I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccine.
Kevin Ashburner, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. So yeah, I think that, like, I don't know, we at some point we've got to, like, draw the line, right? We've got to draw the line at, like, what, because then if not, then, like, that becomes dangerous, because, like, all of these because that could actually produce more harm. To people, right? Because like, what if administering this would have just killed him? Would have just killed him instead of like helped him? I don't know. Having the vaccine free and available, but taking more space instead is a perfect example of American anti-intellectualism or whatever. Yeah, it's really frustrating. I mean, like, I know it's like the people who are unironically thinking about taking horse-based are in the minority. But you know, there are several enough cases of people trying to take the livestock version of ivermectin, which is not for humans, and getting hurt, seriously hurt, up to and including pooping out their intestinal lining. So yeah, or maybe we don't. I generally don't know how to navigate this. It's so fraught. Yeah, it's basically a matter of like, where do we draw that line? And where do we draw that line? Between like, I can do whatever I want, in my, I can do whatever I want within my purview of my body, and put whatever I want in it, to the doctor saying, well, you can't make me do this against my recommendation, you know? Like, yeah, the excuse for not taking the vaccine is so far and few between. I don't like. I mean, that's right, Elio. Were you saying that people are taking animal-sized doses of ivermectin? Yes, like unironically, Tractor Supply levels of ivermectin, and just trying to use it for human use. Right, it is pretty childish. I mean, you can't make me. Well, no, but can we like act like adults? True. Quinn better, true. Well, I understand that, Quinn better. Your rights end at the tip of my nose, so if you decide not to wear a mask to prevent the spread into my area, you're violating my rights. Yeah, because it's not just about, right, because it's not just about you, right? At the point where your actions or inactions start affecting others, and you are, actively, you know, for, doing this to other people, then that's not okay. Right, that's not okay. That's right, Kal-El. So yeah, I think this is very fascinating. Where we have to like draw lines. I think that we can make it so, or I think that the best I think that it would I think that we can make it so if you want to take these like stuff that isn't approved, then you can be released from care, or you could have a situation where you just sign away any and all liabilities. You just sign those away at your own risk. Find a physician that will do it, and you can't hold them liable. And when they do this, the physicians who will be on board or on staff have to explain to you the ramifications, potential outcomes, side effects, everything clear to you, and you have to sign that liability away. I was really questioning ivermectin, but my mother-in-law got the J&J vaccine and got COVID. She ordered ivermectin and it helped, and I was surprised. Think about that, what you just said, Pablo. Think really hard about that statement. Hey, Lasu, how's it going? Think really, really long and hard about that statement. This is one of those things that doesn't harm other people, so go ahead and take it and I'll still make fun of you. Yeah, like, that's the thing though. Like, if you want to do it on your own and against all recommendations, and you want to do it on your own, that's different. I just don't know, like, how we should handle the whole, like, hospital being forced to administer it kind of deal. So that's where we, like, that's where the stuff gets really gray, right? The areas start getting gray, like making a hospital making the hospital give you this versus like, hey, look, bro, if you want to do it, that only affects you. You do you. I mean, it's against every recommendation on the book, but go ahead. No one should stop you. However, me as a doctor can then say, well, I don't know about that. Against my recommendations, I don't want to administer this, and I mean, I shouldn't be held liable for that. Republicans legit held up COVID unemployment to try to get universal liability immunity for all employers. True. The argument is that you shouldn't be able to sue your boss for exposing you to deadly conditions. Where's the discourse? Right. Hospitals are closed because of COVID, isn't it? When it gets into lawsuits and penalties. Wait, what do you mean? So I guess, like, as I carve out this position in my head, I go to when I tell people I go by hospital closure and they legit try to gloss over it, like, what kind of society do we have that I can't go to the fucking hospital? We live in an upside down world. Yeah, because people are yeah, because people are deciding to go against every logical reasoning. Hey, Zajab. A physician would probably only be successfully sued if there's evidence of medical malpractice. If informed consent is given off-label drug use, it would usually protect them. Okay. So you're saying if a hospital doesn't have enough beds to take you in, we should be able to sue them? Oh, wait, no, I wouldn't agree. And shut shit down, there's no other practice to... Oh, I see. I think that what Quinn Better is saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that we should have some type of situation where we should maybe perhaps consider a shutdown based on how much based on the ability of hospitals to be able to handle the overflow of patients. Is that what you're saying? Oh, I see. Okay, I see. So wait, I see. So you should be able to sue employers based on hospital capacity, because, like, if they're making you work and, like, you happen to get sick or get hurt and there's no beds for you, then that's, like, on them. because they're the ones that are forcing you to go to work despite like clearly knowing or like clearly available information that there's like no hospital beds to help. Republicans didn't want to release funds for COVID without universal immunity for employers. Yeah, which is pretty weird to me and pretty gross, to be honest. I thought about it and I'm not seeing the point you were trying to, or you were meaning to make. So your previous statement was... I was really questioning the ivermectin, but my mother-in-law got the J&J vaccine and got COVID. She ordered ivermectin and it helped. So you do realize that what you could be attributing to ivermectin could have just simply been the vaccine preventing serious illness, which is what it's designed to do. What you could be, you can't isolate these things. You can't say with assurance that it was actually the ivermectin versus like, wait, you just said that she took the vaccine. Yes, I just shutdowns based on hospitals and you should be able to sue my boss for forcing me. Yeah, okay, now that makes sense. Now it makes sense. You got the vaccine several months ago. Yeah, and getting the vaccine, despite it being months ago, has been proven to be wildly successful to avoid severe illness. I mean, there's plenty of studies on this. So could it possibly be that what you're looking at is just simply the vaccine doing its job? Right, so, yeah. Okay, that makes that I would agree with that, Quinn, better. Judge shutdowns based on hospitals, and I should be able to sue my boss for forcing me back to work in an emergency. Yeah, okay. Okay, now I get it. Additionally, Florida can't treat patients because their governor won't declare an emergency, limiting access to resources. Should I be able to sue? Shouldn't I be able to sue? Yeah. Don't tell me about studies. I only care about anecdotes. True. Those are the only things. Those are the only things that matter. That's how we. That's how we get a. That's the only way of getting a real, overview of how things are. It's by the handful of anecdotes. That's how we make decisions on a societal level, just based on these like five anecdotes. Is how we conduct studies. So yeah, the TLDR of this, I think that it should be simple, but it is actually not in terms of like how do we navigate this? Because like on one hand, listen, if you want to take stuff that's not supposed to be for that, sure, but don't put the liabilities on. But don't put the liabilities on the hospitals, right? If I can't go to the hospital for a car wreck or heart attack, what kind of society am I in? Yeah. Yes, I did see that. Here's the thing. Wait, was this was this a study that I saw? No, I know it's not just horse dewormer. I just want to say one thing, bots. Liabilities lies 100% on the worker. Who doesn't even have guaranteed 2 weeks sick time. True. Yeah, so basically what this tells me is that we've got like we've got one scenario in a preliminary findings, which we knew that the FDA and NIH was doing preliminary findings regarding this. So if we can prove that and get a consensus that these are replicable, I don't know, you can replicate these results, now we might be talking. But all this tells me is that we need more data, which is the original claim that I made. If billionaires were first in line for the vaccine, they're giving prisoners ivermectin. Which one do you think works? Yeah, true. Republicans are so excited to tell you how you're wrong for humans too. Like, yeah, we know that, but there's actually, if there was actually ever that treats COVID, right? Again, we knew from the beginning, like, that this is, that, you know, the FDA and the NIH are investigating this. And if this is a conclusive, replicatable, trial methods, then yeah, we could start talking about it. Absolutely. But until then, more data is needed, which is like the original claim, right? We don't have a consensus, a plurality of data to make these assertions. And unfortunately, people don't understand nuance, and they are going out and you know, buying like the livestock version of ivermectin. We do have proven antibody treatments, monoclonal treatments, and we do have proven vaccines. We have proven guardrails in place, like you know, masks and social distancing. Those are very proven at this time. We know that. So I mean, until we get like a consensus behind the medical community, this is all this is. I had wild COVID in March 2020 and it fucked me up super bad, so now I have the J&J and I'm getting Pfizer to boost my J&J. Interesting. And I also want to point out that we will investigate this more, right? Imagine doing everything to avoid antibodies. Yeah, I mean, like, the reality is, we've already had, like, very proven treatments and vaccines. Like, let science do its thing. If this is proven, we'll know about it later. The problem is that people are taking, like, the problem is that they're taking something like this and then running with it. And, like, that's why we gotta be very, 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 very clear. And I don't want people to confuse a preliminary study as like, oh yeah, this is settled science. Like, no, it's not. The GOP propaganda and Tucker Carlson telling every night that they want to kill unvaxxed people. Oh my god, I saw that clip. Jesus. I saw that clip. Can we get to the good jugs already? True. You're literally taking the vaccine treatment over and over in the hospital, but you're just doing it the worst way you can do it. Anyways, yeah, people unfortunately think that they see something like this because they want to reinforce their biases, and then they go out and say like, oh yeah, look, it's right here. Well, no. As Darknet pointed out earlier, this might as well. I don't want to like demerit the thing, but for all intents and purposes, it's like limited and borderline anecdotal. However, if we can replicate this, sure. If we can replicate this on a large scale, sure, we can talk. Yes, that's right. They pump your monoclonal treatments and antibody treatments. Yep. We also have remdesivir and Regeneron, which have proven to be quite effective as well. That's right, Quimbetter. So TLDR, this article is about where do we draw the lines, you know? Where do we draw the line? Here. That's right, the rest is just symptom reduction. Well, your body is what does it, right? I think it's the immune response, which is what the vaccine is designed to trigger, right? Why is this so easy for us to understand? I mean, it's not. I mean, like, it's kind of. I don't want to say it's common sense, but like, it makes logical sense, right? Kentucky governor says state is in dire situation from COVID surge. Kentucky is in a dire situation because of a surge in new coronavirus driven by the Delta variant, Governor Andy Beshear said in NBC's Meet the Press. The number of cases and hospitalizations in the state are increasing at the fastest growth rate since the start of the pandemic, and thus are also beginning to surge since plateauing over the summer. Kentucky recorded a 7-day average of 4,423 new daily cases on Saturday, according to the database maintained by the NYT. The state on Saturday had reported an average of 2,385 hospitalizations and 24 deaths from virus over the last 7 days. Around 69% of the state's population is 18 years or older, has been vaccinated against the virus. If I had the ability to do it right now, we would have a masking order where when you are in public and indoors, we know that's a proven way to slow the spread of the virus and ultimately help our healthcare capacity. Our situation is dire. Imagine not having that ability. The tech behind the vaccine, let me clarify. Yeah, I mean, like, well, yeah. Love to destroy my state's ability to do anything, all for freedom. Yeah, freedom. I think I killed the chat typing too much. Sorry, guys. No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, so, TLDR in Kentucky is in really, dire straits. Seems like a lot of the, red states are in dire straits. Just please have some common sense. Please, if you haven't already, and you are eligible, please take the vaccine. Please wear masks. Please social distance. Please do not take things that don't have the consensus behind them. Okay? Going to Tractor Supply and getting ivermectin because you think it's going to help you, and you are not and you don't have the qualifications to do so, please do not take things like ivermectin until we have a consensus behind the medical community. Please do not take anything that is not that doesn't have the scientific consensus behind it. Okay, there are people that are getting really hurt. So just please have some common sense is all I'm saying. Excellent, Zajap. Excellent. Pee pee poo. That's much better. I'm poo poo. Excellent. Hi poo poo. I'm vegan. Endo vegan. This is excellent discourse in chat. I'm so glad I quit Tractor Supply. I couldn't imagine crazy folk now. Yeah, I mean, like, please, guys, just have some common sense. Please. 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 A Florida AC company has shorted workers $490,000 in pay via repeated violations. Holy yikes, Matman. I think I need a cute animal break. Let's do it. I could have sworn I saw one. Oh. I know the bees is fit because I watched them fall away. Streamers talk about having a community while they take our money, but the real community is the chatters ourselves. True. You guys are... I always make sure to make it a point. You guys are what makes us go. I mean, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
For the first couple weeks, they have balance issues, and because their legs are so short, it's a little bit harder for them
It's
to
a baby skunk, guys.
He was already 5 months old.
It's a
but
baby
his body's
skunk.
Not the same as his age. He looked terrible. He was scrawny, no hair. I was very stumped as to why he was so little. But it didn't take him long.
Trashy,
Once he discovered food
Illuminati.
was amazing and awesome, he didn't stop from there.
It is a baby skunk.
He was sassy from day one. He is always... After that, it's usually they're doing the handstand, but when they're coming down, they stomp the back feet. So as soon as I would open the doors, he would turn around and show me his little hind end, put up his tail, and start stomping.
No,
so
don't spray.
To, we have something back there that's our weapon. So let me make noise, and then I'm going to give it to you. He's not going to spray me. I'm not worried about that. His fur started to finally grow in. I thought, okay, I'm on the right track there. I had him inside for the longest time. His instincts have kicked in. He's crazy. He just really wanted out.
That's a skunk for you.
His cage in the house. So I put him outside, and now he is as happy as can be. As soon as I got him outside, and I don't have to teach him how to practice in the sand.
Skunks have
He
been
picked that
flexing on me on
up.
sidewalks in Hollywood. It's kind of
Now
scary.
he's
They don't back
4.5
down. You gotta
pounds,
cross the street.
and I usually release him at about 6. So I think by spring he's gonna be ready.
Beer. Oh man. Okay, I think we need another one just to do the 1-2 punch. But yeah, just to clarify, Thandera. I'm the OG. All right. I made this background. Okay. I made this background. Yeah. I saw a trapped leopard one. Wait, where? Did I miss it? Oh, trapped leopard. Here we are.
Over it. Where to?
Stop. I don't like Facebook. Okay? Stop trying to sell me Facebook. My captain detector's off the chart. Poor dude. Human beings actually being, human beings doing the right thing for once. In this video should be titled, "In rare occasion, human beings do the right thing."
नीचे थोड़ा डूब रही कि नहीं डूब रही? नहीं डूब रही ना, वो प्लास्टिक की है.
I want to hug a bobcat so much. People are almost always nice unless it involves government or decisions.
दोबारा पैसा का पैसा ले जाओ, पैसा का पैसा.
I think we need a feel-good story. This looks like a feel-good story.
चलो चलो गोपाल सीधे कर दे आओ. गोपाल बाहर हो जाओ तुम. गोपाल रस्सी में तोड़ना पकड़े रहो. दोबारा पैसे के पैसे ले आओ, आराम से भागेगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं यार, आराम से.
People are nice guys. That's real. Oh yeah, yeah. Some people are.
उस तरफ से खींचो, हरी खींचो. खींचो हरी.
Is this leopard gonna eat some face? No, no. It's being rescued right now. The last thing it wants to do is to mess up the people who just rescued him.
हाँ थोड़ा तेल लेके खींच लो. गोपाल तुम्हारी तरफ से खींचो, गोपाल तुम्हारी तरफ से खींचो, गोपाल निकल जाएगी. खींचो बस, खींचो. हरी तरफ से खींच लो थोड़ा. हाँ खींचो, खींचो. अरे नहीं भी खींचो. अरे आ गया, आ गया. अरे बहुत चला जाएगा. बस 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 उधर बस ऐसे बांध रहे हो, पकड़े रहो, छोड़ना मत. अपने आप निकलेगा वो. अपने आप निकलेगा. तुम तो बैठ कर खड़े रहो ऐसे ही. खड़े रहो, खड़े रहो, खड़े रहो, खड़े रहो ऐसे ही. गया. रुको 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 मत भागो. हाँ कहीं मत भागो, तुम लोग उधर ही रहना. अब साइड हटते चले जाओ. चलो भागो भागो भागो, मारो भागो. बस चलो हो गया काम. भाई की मस्त नहीं है.
चलो साहब जंगल में गाय देते हैं.
नहीं नहीं
जवान है.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Nice. Poor dude. I'm glad that he got out. That was a feel-good story. My cap detector is off the charts. No cap. In a very cool, very awesome, very legal story. Florida AC company has shorted workers $490,000 in pay via repeated violations. Del Air Heating Air Conditioning and Refrigeration isn't cool with just paying employees what they've earned. According to U.S. Department of Labor, Sanford-based HVAC has violated Fair Labor Standards violated the Fair Labor Standards Act concerning paying employees. So often from 1995 to 2020 that the agency took it to federal court after finding violations for the 7th time. The 7th time. This should have happened the first time. But you know, of course, the NLRB and our enforcement abilities have been pretty toothless. Leopard is so tired. I hope I could find something to eat and somewhere to sleep safely. Same. That the agency took it to federal court after finding violations for the 7th time. Labor announced this week the consent judgment in Orlando federal court ordered Del Air to pony up $334,307 in back pay to 212 workers, about $1,576.92 per employee. 6 previous wage and hour divisions investigations since 1995 uncovered Del Air pay problems worth $155,865 to 440 workers, $354.24 per worker. With such a track record, after the federal court consent judgment, wage and hour slammed the company with an $82,616 civil penalty. State records say Del Air, registered with the state of Florida since 1983, is run by President and Chief Executive Officer Robert Russo, and Secretary and Chief Financial Officer Thomas Margio. The company didn't return a message left by Herald Reporter at its corporate office on Tuesday. Labor said the most recent investigation since 1995, completed in 2020. Wait. What? It just hit me. Said the most recent investigation since 1995, completed in 2020. Oh, okay. So they've done, So they've done multiple investigations, the most recent one completed in 2020. Okay. According to court documents found that Del Air paid installers by piece rate, which is by the number of jobs done, no matter how many hours they worked to finish those jobs. Yikes. Jesus, that's super messed up. I'd imagine you have to raise one yourself to get that kind of experience. Yeah. I would hug a leopard if I could, but I also respect if I try to hug my cat will make like my face mincemeat, so yeah, no. There's not a great enough penalty in place to stop it from happening again, and I'm sure it's insanely difficult to bring this to court too. Yeah, and it's also a problem with like the ability to enforce the laws that are in place already. That's what it is. It's also you know, the fact that all of these like labor protections have very little funding to like actually enforce these labor laws that are what little labor laws are on the books quite often get missed. Aw, that's so cute. Didn't pay a warehouse manager earned overtime. Holy yikes, I would be so mad. Didn't pay earned overtime to some employees. Yikes. And didn't include earned bonuses in the overtime rate. Holy yikes. Wow. Nice meme. Del Air Air Conditioning and Refrigeration Inc. has repeatedly ignored its responsibilities to pay its... Well, it's not ignored. I think it's on purpose. To pay its workers all their hard-earned wages and routinely broke the law. Yeah, like one time One time is a mistake. Fine. Accounting made a mistake. We'll solve it in the next paycheck. 7 times and hundreds of employees? That's not a mistake. That's not a mistake. Martin wages and routinely broke the law, said Wage and Hour Division Director Widali de Jesus. We invite workers who believe they are not being paid legally and employers who are uncertain about their responsibilities to contact Wage and Hour Division. Wage and Hour Division complaint section of the Department of Labor website contains information on how to file a complaint. Miami's Wage, yeah, if you live in Florida, I guess this specific area, Miami's Wage and Hour Division office can be reached at 305-598-6607 no matter the immigration or citizenship status. Workers can speak with departments which it claims it can handle calls in more than 200 languages. Don't be afraid, folks. Don't be afraid to stand up for your rights, okay? Because that's not cool. That's not cool. Nice. I did a stargazing tour and we saw the Andromeda Galaxy and it was fucking cool as hell. Nice. I leave water and food for the bunnies and chipmunks outside. That's so awesome. That's so awesome. I have none of those. I have like some squirrels. I do have a lot of lizards, a lot of like anoles. Different types of lizards. So I usually leave out little bits of water for them because it's incredibly hot. It's incredibly hot, and I've often I did it once, and they started using it a little like dish of water, and they actually use it. It's really cute. Chipmunks are like little doggos. Oh, that's adorable. That's adorable. The big mountain in Hawaii, like, hike all the way to the top, 15k above sea level, and on all lava fields. I'm so jealous he did that. Wow. We're getting close to that time, so I'm just going to speed run this, and I want you folks to check this out when you have a chance. Jeez, 13 hours of hard hiking. I can't do that. I don't think I can do that. "20 meat and dairy firms emit more greenhouse gas in Germany, Britain, or France." Yikes. 20 livestock companies are responsible for more greenhouse gas emissions than either Germany, Britain, or France, and are receiving billions of dollars in financial backing to do so. According to a new report by environmental campaigners, raising livestock contributes significantly to carbon emissions, with animal agriculture accounting for 14.5% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. Scientific reports have found that rich countries need a huge reduction in meat and dairy consumption to tackle climate emergency. And this is not just like some random like fact that like activists are saying or anything like that. This is like even clear in this report. I mean, they mentioned it several times. Between 2015 and 2020, global meat and dairy companies received more than $478 billion in backing from 2,500 investment firms, banks, and pension funds, most of them based in North America or Europe, according to Meat Atlas, which is compiled by Friends of the Earth and European Political Foundation. Heinrich Boll Stiftung? I don't know. With that level of financial support, the report estimates that meat production could increase by a further 4 million tons by 2029 to hit at 366 million tons of meat a year. I mean, like, come on. Although the vast majority of growth is likely to take place in the global south, the biggest producers continue to be China, Brazil, and the USA, and the members of the European Union. By 2019, these countries may still produce 60% of the worldwide meat output. Across the world, reports say that 3/4 of all agriculture land is used to raise animal or the crops to feed them. That's right. In Brazil alone, 175 million hectares is dedicated to raising cattle, an area of land that is about equal to the entire agricultural area of the European Union. The report also points to ongoing consolidation in the meat and dairy sector, with the biggest companies buying smaller ones and reducing competition. You know, like capitalism would want. The effect risks squeezing out the more sustainable food production models. To keep up with this level of animal protein production, industrial animal farming is on the rise and keeps pushing sustainable models out of the market. The recent interest shown by animal protein companies in meat alternatives and substitutes was not yet a solution. This is all for profit and is not really addressing the fundamental issues we see in the current animal protein-centered food system that is having a devastating impact on climate. Biodiversity is actually harming people around the globe. Said Stanka Becheva, a food and agriculture campaigner working with Friends of Earth. The bottom line is, we need to begin reducing the number of food animals on the planet and incentivize different consumption models. Yep, that's it. More meat industry regulation is needed too, to make sure that the companies are paying for the harms they have created through the supply chain and minimize further damage. On the investment side, Bacheva said private banks and investors, as well as developed banks such as the World Bank and European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, needs to stop financing large-scale intensive animal protein production projects. Okay, that was really weird. Hold on, folks. Most vegans don't eat fake meat, true. Responding to the report, Paolo Batruno, Deputy Secretary General of the European Association for the Meat Processing Industry, we don't believe that any food sector is more or less sustainable than another. Wait, now hold on. We don't believe that any food sector is more or less sustainable than another. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. Ah. Hold on, folks. I forget that today is back to normal. So I'm just gonna try to finish this really quick. This just isn't true, I don't think. There are more or less sustainable ways to produce plant or animal foods, and we're committed to make animal protein production more sustainable. These sound like platitudes. We also know that the average greenhouse gas emissions in the EU from livestock is half of that of the global average. The global average is about 14%, and the EU average, that's kind of big, don't you think? In England and Wales, National Farmers Union has set a target of reaching net zero gas emissions in agriculture by 2040. How though? I don't see it. How? How? Animal food production is fundamentally less efficient and more wasteful than management. It's impossible for it not to be. Yeah, so like that was my question. Like I don't buy that statement at all. I really wanted to get through this video, but I think we might want to watch this one tomorrow. Because we've got to get through this. Alright, chat. It's time. Climate and air quality responses to short-lived climate forces and shared socioeconomic pathways. Future changes in emissions short-lived. Climate forces are expected to cause an additional global mean warming with a large diversity in the end-of-century responses to Working Group 1's core set of SSBs depending upon the level of climate change and air pollution mitigation. This additional warming is either due to reductions in cooling aerosols or air pollution for air pollution regulation, or due to increase in methane, ozone, and HFCs. This additional warming is stable after 2040 and SSBs associated with lower global air pollution, as long as methane emissions are also mitigated, but the overall warming induced by SLCF changes is higher in scenarios which air quality continues to deteriorate, induced by growing fossil fuel use and limited air pollution control. High confidence. Sustained methane mitigation reduces global surface ozone, contributes to air quality improvement, and also reduces surface temperature in the longer term, but only sustained CO2 emissions reductions allow for long-term climate stabilization. High confidence. Future changes in air quality near surface ozone and particulate matter, or PM, at global and local scales are predominantly driven in changes in ozone and aerosol precursor emissions rather than climate. High confidence. Air quality improvements driven by rapid decarbonization strategies such as in SSP 1 to 1.9, SSP 1 to 2.6 are not sufficient in the near term to achieve air quality guidelines set by WHO in other highly polluted regions. I believe we went through this, but either way, it's good. Here to get educated. Drew. Oh, the room isn't closed, just this is important to focus, chat. The net effect of SLCF emissions changes on the temperature will depend on how emission of warming and cooling SLCFs will evolve in the future. The magnitude of cooling effect on aerosols remain the largest uncertainty in the effect of SLCFs in the future climate projections. Since the SLCFs have undergone large changes over the past 2 decades, focus chat. Yes, here. Focus. In the next 2 decades, it is very... Oh, sorry, hold on. The magnitude of the cooling effect of aerosol remained the largest uncertainty effect of SLCFs in the future climate projections. Since the SLCFs have undergone large changes over the past 2 decades, the temperature and air pollution responses are estimated relative to year 2019 instead of 1995 to 2014. Hey. What the heck? Nightbot. You know better than that. Hold on. I think we already have links, and protection. Links disable. Okay, we already have a way of dealing with links. And the chap should be able to post links because he has VIP. No, nothing to be sorry about. Nightbot just gets a little spicy. In the next 2 decades, it is very likely that SLCF emission changes will cause a warming relative to 2019 across Working Group 1 core sets of SSPs. In addition to the warming from long-lived GHGs, the net effect of SLCF, SLFCs, and HFCs changes in total in global surface temperatures across the SSPs is likely warming of 0.06 degrees Celsius to 0.35 degrees Celsius in 2040 relative to 2019. This is near-term global mean warming linked to SLCFs is quite similar in magnitude across the SSPs due to competing effects of warming, methane and ozone, and cooling aerosol forcers. There is greater diversity in the end-of-century response among scenarios. SLCF changes in scenarios with no climate mitigation, SSP 3 to 7.0 and SSP 5 to 8.5 will cause a warming in the likely range of 0.4 to 0.9 degrees Celsius in 2100 relative to 2019. Due to increase in methane, tropospheric ozone, and high HFC levels. For the stringent climate change and pollution mitigation scenarios in SSP 1 to 1.9, SSP 1 to 2.6 of the cooling from reductions in methane, ozone, and HFCs partially balance the warming from reduced aerosol primarily sulfate and overall SLCF effect is likely increase in global surface temperature 0.0 to 0.3 degrees Celsius in 2100 relative to 2019. With intermediate climate change of air pollution mitigation, SLCFs and SSP 2 to 4.5 at a likely warming of 0.2 to 0.5 degrees Celsius to global surface temperatures in change in 2100 with the largest warming result from a reduction of aerosols. Assuming implementation and efficient enforcement of both the Kigali Amendment and Montreal Protocol on ozone depleting substances and the current national plans of limited emissions, as in SSP 1 to 2.6, the effect of HFCs on global surface temperature relative to 2019 would remain below 0.02 degrees Celsius from 2050 onwards versus 0.04 to 0.08 degrees Celsius in 2050 and 0.1 to 0.3 degrees Celsius in 2100, considering only national HFC regulations decided prior to the Kigali Amendment, as in SSP 5 to 8.5 with medium confidence. Air pollution projections from ranges from strong reductions in global surface ozone and PM with stringent mitigation of both pollution, air pollution, and climate change to no improvement and even degradation. Example, SSP 3 to 7.0 without climate change mitigation, with only weak air pollution control. High confidence. Under SSP 3 to 7.0 scenario, PM levels are projected to increase until 2050 over large parts of Asia, and surface ozone pollution is projected to worsen. Yes, the chap does stream. Debate me in real time next time I go live. I got you. In SSP 5 to 8.5, a scenario without climate change mitigation but with stringent air pollution control, PM levels decline to 2100, but high methane levels hamper in decline in global surface ozone at least until 2080. High confidence. Earth system response to solar radiation modification. Since AR5, further modeling work has been conducted on aerosol-based solar radiation modification options such as stratospheric aerosol injection, marine cloud brightening, and cirrus cloud thinning, and their climate and biogeochemical effects. These investigations have shown consistently that SRM could offset some of the effects of increasing GHG on global and regional climate, including the carbon and water cycles. High confidence. However, there would be substantial residual overcompensating climate change at the regional scale and seasonal timescales. High confidence. And large uncertainties associated with aerosol cloud radiation interactions persist. The cooling caused by SRM would increase the global land and ocean CO2 sinks. Medium confidence, but this would not stop CO2 from increasing in the atmosphere or affect the resulting ocean acidification under continued anthropogenic emissions. High confidence. It is likely that abrupt water cycle changes will occur if SRM techniques are implemented rapidly. A suddenly and sustained termination of SRM in a high CO2 emission scenario would cause rapid climate change. High confidence. However, a gradual phase out of SRM combined with emission reductions and CDR would avoid these termination effects. And half of him calls him the chap. No one will ever know. Come on, chat. Focus. Solar radiation modification. Yeah, you can send links to in DMs. Solar radiation modification and refers to deliberate large-scale climate intervention options that are studied as potential supplements to deep mitigation. For example, in scenarios that overshoot climate stabilization goals, SRM options aim to offset some of the warming effects of GHG emissions by modification of the Earth's shortwave radiation budget. Following SR 1.5, the SRM assessed in this report also includes some options such as cirrus cloud thinning that alter the long-wave radiation budget. SRM contrasts with climate change mitigation activities such as emissions reductions and CDR, as it introduces a mask to the climate change problem by altering the Earth's radiation budget rather than attempting to address the root cause of the problem. In other words, this idea of like terraforming or trying to mitigate climate change by messing around with other stuff could lead to undesired effects, and B, does not address the actual root cause of the problem. That's right, the jab. Which is the increase in GHGs in the atmosphere. By masking only the climate effects of GHG emissions, SRM does not address other issues related to atmospheric CO2 to increase, such as ocean acidification. The Working Group 1 report assesses physical understanding of the Earth system response to proposed SRM and is based primarily on idealized climate model simulations. There are important other considerations such as risk to human and natural systems, perceptions, ethics, costs, and governance and transboundary issues, and the relationship to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals issued issues that the Working Group 2 and Working Group 3 report addresses. SRM options include those that increase surface albedo, brighten marine clouds by increasing the amount of cloud condensation nuclei, or reduce the optical depth of cirrus clouds by seeding them with ice nucleating particles. However, the most commonly studied approaches attempt to mimic the cooling effects of major volcanic eruptions by injecting reflective aerosols, example sulfates or their precursors, sulfur dioxide, into the stratosphere. SRM could have offset some of the effects of greenhouse gas-induced warming on global regional climate, but there would be substantial residual and overcompensating climate change at the regional scale and seasonal timescales, high confidence. Since AR5, more modeling work has been conducted with sophisticated treatment of aerosol-based SRM approaches, but uncertainties in cloud aerosol radiation interactions are still large. Modeling studies suggest that it is possible to stabilize multiple large-scale temperature indicators simultaneously by tailoring the deployment strategy of SRM options, medium confidence, but with large residual or overcompensating regional and seasonal climate changes. SRM approaches targeting shortwave radiation are likely to reduce global mean precipitation relative to future CO2 emission scenarios if all global mean warming is offset. In contrast, cirrus cloud thinning targeting long-wave radiation is expected to cause an increase in global mean precipitation, medium confidence. If shortwave approaches are used to offset global mean warming, the magnitude of reduction in regional precipitation minus evapotranspiration, which is more relevant to freshwater availability, is smaller than precipitation decreases because of simultaneous reductions in both precipitation and evapotranspiration, medium confidence. I mean, these are all things that we need to do to spread it forward. These are all pieces of the puzzle. If SRM is used to cool the planet, it would cause a reduction, If SRM is used to cool the planet, it would cause a reduction in plant and soil respiration and slow the reduction of ocean carbon uptake due to warming, medium confidence. The result would be an enhancement of the global land and ocean CO2 sinks, and a slight reduction in atmospheric CO2 concentration relative to unmitigated climate change. However, SRM would not stop CO2 from increasing in the atmosphere or affect the resulting ocean acidifications under continued anthropogenic emissions. High confidence. Yeah, it doesn't address the core problems. Excellent, Zachap. It doesn't address the core problems, and the ramifications of this could actually be bad. Could actually take us in the opposite direction, and we don't even stop all of the effects of climate change, and we don't stop the CO2 from increasing. So yeah, this is not like a real viable option. Not by any stretch of the imagination. This is not the way. The effect of stratospheric aerosol injection of on global temperature and precipitation is projected by models to be detectable after 1 to 2 decades, which is similar to the timescale for emergence of benefits of emission reductions. In other words, we can do the same, and I mean, this report cannot stress enough the importance of reducing our emissions. I mean, it's just clear as day. In like 10,000 different ways, they've told us like we've got to get off of fossil fuels in every way and in as many ways and as quickly as possible. That's literally the solution, or I should say, that is one of the most core tenets of what we need to do, according to what they've been very, very, very stressing during this entire report, right? Like this idea that we're just gonna technology our way out by like messing with the clouds or whatever they're proposing here is not the solution. It's not. A sudden and sustained termination of SRM in a high GHG emission scenario would cause rapid climate change and a reversal of the SRM effects on the carbon sinks. Yeah, the exact opposite effect. Holy yikes. It is also likely that a termination of strong SRM would drive abrupt changes in the water cycle globally and regionally, especially in tropical regions, by shifting the ITCZ and Hadley cells. At the regional scale, nonlinear responses cannot be excluded due to changes in evapotranspiration. However, a gradual phase-out of SRM combined with emission reduction at CDR would avoid larger rates of changes. Medium confidence. Ooh, here's where it gets really good. Irreversibility, tipping points, and abrupt changes. Well, I mean, I'm not opposed to making sure people have food, housing, education, and healthcare. No, I'm not opposed to any of these things. Job. The present rate of response of many aspects of climate systems are proportionate to the rate of recent temperature changes, but some aspects may respond disproportionately. Some climate system components are slow to respond, such as deep ocean overturning circulation and the ice sheets. It is virtually certain that irreversible, committed change is already underway for the slow to respond processes as they've come into adjustment for the past and present emissions. The paleoclimate record indicates that tipping elements exist in the climate system where processes undergo sudden shifts toward a different sensitivity to forcing, such as during a major deglaciation. 1 degree of temperature change might correspond to a large or small ice sheet mass loss during different stages. For global climate indicators, evidence for abrupt change is limited, but deep ocean warming, acidification, and sea level rise are committed to ongoing change for millennia after global surface temperatures initially stabilize and are irreversible on human timescales. Very high confidence. Holy yikes. At the regional scale, abrupt responses, tipping points, and even reversals in the direction of change cannot be excluded. High confidence. Some regional abrupt changes and tipping points could have severe local impacts, such as unprecedented weather, extreme temperatures, and increased frequencies of droughts and forest fires. Models that exhibit such tipping points are characterized by abrupt changes once the threshold is crossed, and even a return to pre-threshold surface temperatures or to atmospheric carbon dioxide concentrations does not guarantee that the tipping elements return to their pre-threshold state. Yikes. Monitoring and early warning systems are being put in place to observe tipping elements in the climate system. Oof. Yeah, here's where it starts to get really, 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 really good. We are in dire straits. We are in dire straits. Yeah, that's right. The stigma of collectivizing is too damn strong, at least here in America. Well, like, I mean, I think people like, oh my god, have just like taken like extreme positions where the idea of coming together to solve something as big as like COVID was it's just not possible. And climate change on the back of that. Can you imagine trying to get people to work together here to solve this? Frustrating. Like, I'm sorry, but there are going to be challenges where we will need a collective to work together. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's just like certain things that we will need a collective response to. I mean, yeah, that's right, Dustin. Well, only if it makes the money. But by then, understanding of multi-decadal reversibility, i.e. the system returns to the previous climate state within multiple decades after the radiative forcing is removed, has improved since AR5 for many atmospheric land, surface, and sea ice climate metrics following the sea surface temperature recovery. Some processes suspected of having tipping points, such as the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation (AMOC), have been found to often undergo recovery after temperature stabilization with a time delay. Low confidence. However, substantial irreversibility is further substantiated for some cryosphere changes, ocean warming, sea level rise, and ocean acidification. That's not good. That's not good. Some climate systems components are slow to respond, such as deep ocean overturning circulation and the ice sheets. It is likely that under stabilization of global warming at 1.5 degrees Celsius, 2 degrees Celsius, or 3 degrees Celsius relative to 1850 to 1900, the AMOC will continue to weaken for several decades by about 15, 20, and 30% of its strength, and then recover to pre-decline values over several centuries. Yeah. At sustained warming levels between 2 to 3 degrees Celsius, there is limited evidence that the Greenland and West Antarctic ice sheet will be lost almost completely and irreversibly. By over multiple millennia, both probability of their complete loss and rate of mass loss increases with higher surface temperature. High confidence. At sustained warming levels between 3 to 5 degrees, near complete loss of the Greenland ice sheet and complete loss of the ice Antarctic sheet is projected to occur irreversibly over multiple millennia. Medium confidence with substantial parts or all of Wilkes subglacial basin in the East Antarctica lost over multiple millennia. Low confidence. In other words, again, what we do now, the decisions that we take or indecisions will dictate which one of these scenarios we get. And the more warming, the dire it looks. Early warning signals of accelerated sea level rise from Antarctica could possibly be observed within the next few decades. For other hazards, example ice sheet behavior, glacier mass loss, and global mean sea level change, coastal floods, coastal erosion, air pollution, and ocean acidification at the time and/or scenario dimensions remain critical, and a simple and robust relationship with global warming levels cannot be established. High confidence. For global climate indicators, evidence for abrupt change is limited. For global warming up to 2 degrees Celsius above 1850 to 1900 levels, paleoclimate records do not indicate abrupt changes in the carbon cycle. Low confidence. Despite the wide range of model responses, and uncertainty in atmospheric CO2 by 2100 is dominated by future anthropogenic emissions rather than uncertainties related to carbon climate feedbacks. High confidence. There is no evidence of abrupt change in climate projections of global temperature for the next century. There is a near linear relationship between cumulative CO2 emissions and maximum global mean surface air temperature temperature increase caused by CO2 over the course of this century for global warming levels up to at least 2 degrees Celsius relative to 1850 to 1900. The increase in global ocean heat content will likely continue to at least 2300 even for low emission scenarios. And global mean sea level rise will continue to rise for centuries to millennia following cessation of emissions. Jesus Christ. Due to continuing deep ocean heat uptake and mass loss of Greenland and Antarctic ice sheets, high confidence. Yep. The response of biogeochemical cycles to anthropogenic perturbations can be abrupt at regional scales and irreversible on decadal to century timescale, high confidence. The probability of crossing uncertain regional thresholds increasing with climate change, high confidence. It is very unlikely that gas clathrates, mostly methane, and deeper terrestrial permafrost and subsea clathrates will lead to a detectable departure from the emissions trajectory during the century. Possible abrupt changes in tipping points in biogeochemical cycles lead to additional uncertainty in the 21st century. Atmospheric GHG concentrations, but future anthropogenic emissions remain the dominant uncertainty, high confidence. There's potential for abrupt water cycle changes in some high emission scenarios, but there is overall no overall consistency regarding the magnitude and timing of such changes. Positive land surface feedbacks include vegetation, dust, and snow, can contribute to abrupt changes in aridity, but there is no confidence that such changes will occur during the 21st century. Continued Amazon deforestation combined with warming climate raises the probability that this ecosystem will cross a tipping point into a dry state during the 21st century. Yeah. That's right, spread it forward. Have we talked about San Francisco Giants labor strike today? No. I didn't even realize that. But her emails. Alright, folks, unfortunately it is about that time. 81. Well, I think we're past that. We're doing absolutely fantastic. Please check it out. All our Giants merch money went to fucking Lauren Bulbert. Yikes. Boo. Okay, so we are here. Nice. We're almost there, folks. We're almost there. You're almost there. Yeah, the concession workers. Okay. Time. True. Folks, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to follow. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe on the YouTubes. Join us on the Discords. And join the offline conversation there. Join us on the YouTubes. And spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be. For news and politics, Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and Saturdays around noon Eastern Time. 96.7% of active stadium workers have voted to strike. Nice. Nice. Maybe another stream topic? Yeah, I can cover that tomorrow. Yeah, nice. Maybe another stream topic. Cheers, you all guys rule, especially me. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you, Spread It Forward. Thank you, Darknet. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out here. You guys are what makes this go. Please, as always, stay safe. Take care of each other. I love y'all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya! Yes, Mu variant is a variant of concern. We will be talking about that. Stay safe. Hi, Dan Simpson. Let's hang out with them. Mu variant. Yeah. I don't know if it's pronounced Mu, but MU. Alright, folks. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.